Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Build seminar on Introduction to Plan Sandy Springs. We are really excited to share the launch of Plan Sandy Springs today. My name is Sam Dulac, and I'm being assisted in the back with Jesus Davila and Jonathan Livingston for today's webinar. Zoning and construction permitting can sometimes be confusing or difficult to navigate, especially as requirements and codes vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. The city has been working for the past year to roll out a new web tool to help answer some of our most commonly asked questions related to opening a business or undergoing site work or construction work on a property. First, I want to take a moment to share with you the concept of this tool. Some of you may hear staff use buzzwords such as permitting discovery, pre-application, or permitting Q&A. Plan Sandy Springs is a guided experience to help you determine what regulations apply to a construction project before having to make an extra call, email, or visit to City Hall. Some examples of who this website may benefit include residents, homeowners, business owners, architects, realtors, contractors, and developers. Plan Sandy Springs is a questionnaire to help you answer three main questions about your project: where in the city a project is allowed, which permits you need to apply for, and an estimate of associated fees. But rather than just tell you what Plan Sandy Springs can do, we're going to show you. Let's get started with the demonstration. For those of you on Zoom, please use the Q&A feature on the bottom of your screen to ask questions throughout, and anyone in the room, feel free to raise your hand. We'll also have Q&A halfway through and at the end of the presentation. So as you can see on Plan Sandy Springs, there are three portals. The zoning check is an important tool that complements the planner of the day. It's also incorporated into the commercial and residential portals. But rather than walk through it 3 times, we're just going to jump into a commercial project. This page here outlines the 5-step process that will ask you questions and help build out your project. And as a reminder, this is not your permit application, it's an informational tool. Let's open the Plan Sandy Springs Pizzeria. We can move on to step 1, project description, and type in any word that closely matches this use, such as pizza, restaurant, pizzeria. Any of those should give us good results. So depending on what you enter, you could get multiple results. The descriptions under each will help you pick the best option to match the development code. If you're not sure what to search for, you can always scroll down and click Browse the Use Code list and find the use for your project there. And so here we could say, okay, a pizzeria restaurant is a commercial use and they're sorted A to Z. So we would jump all the way down to the bottom to find restaurant. So we've selected restaurant and we're going to move on to step 2, project location. Plan Sandy Springs will automatically show you where in the city a commercial restaurant is allowed by zoning. Green means go ahead. Sometimes you may see yellow, which can indicate special conditions such as flood hazard zones. And gray means it's not a permitted use of the land. From here, you can zoom in and click around the map, or just type in the address on the left. I think the Plan Sandy Springs Pizzeria will be a great complement to City Bar. We do need to answer the remaining question though, of does this use already exist? The answer is no, we are building on an empty lot. And as an aside, if a parcel shows up yellow, it's typically non-conforming. We encourage you to speak with staff before continuing if your parcel comes up yellow on the map. Okay, so great. We have a permitted parcel and we can go ahead. Okay, so now we're on to step 3, permit types. This is where we'll describe the construction work we plan to engage in. This is a dynamic search. Depending on the answers you put in, different options and questions will appear further down the screen. All of these questions are required to move forward. So first, we are going to engage in new construction. Okay. And And from here, we're also going to have an accessory structure at this pizzeria. We'll have an outdoor gazebo to eat at. We will also need a generator, a backup generator. And okay, the rest of those we are good. So we will have a primary and accessory structure being built. And as you see, as we go through and answer more questions, different permit requirements appear over on the right. We'll also include grading on this project. And will it disturb more than 1,000 square feet of land? Yes. Will our another question. Are you developing an entire subdivision? No. And as far as signage, let's say yes, we're going to have a beautiful code compliant sign on our building. So this will be wall mounted. You see the required permits pop over on the right of the screen. Some of these have a special description to provide more information to you, the user. An example would be if you want to know what is an accessory structure, you can click there and see a couple options. And for the signs, you can also come in here and see which section of the development code provides all of those specifications for signs. Okay, this next page is our estimated fees. It has already started to add up some of the fees, but your answers to the left will impact the totals. Most of the permit fees in Sandy Springs are based on valuation. This is the combination of construction work, materials, and labor. It's important that you provide as accurate of costs as possible. Staff will validate your cost estimates during the application review and may assess additional fees depending on the nature of your project. And so as far as filling out these fees, I did consult with my design professional. Jesus is assisting me with filling in the fees on this page. So we have filled out the fees. And now the valuation on the right has become much more accurate because of the information we provided. Now this doesn't include impact fees or the cost of a business license, but it is a good estimate of the construction permit fees. And for more details, you can always click on the name of the permit and you'll see pretty much every permit in the city includes an administrative fee, a COCC fee, and a technology fee. And then depending on how complex your project is, it will also include review fees or a standard building permit fee. Okay, so now we are moving on to the summary page. This information about your fees has carried over to the right of the screen, and the left includes special zoning information for the parcel you selected, such as land use, character area, and applicable development standards. You'll also see these Learn More buttons under each one, which will link you directly into the development code. And so here you can see even more specifics for these planning and zoning standards, which includes lot coverage, building placement, height, and district standards. Having this information up front is really helpful for planning out your project. Okay, and now we're back on Plan Sandy Springs. On the summary page, you also get a summary of all of the answers you provided, and those are located on the bottom, as well as if you scroll all the way down, you will get to the summary page, which says download PDF. We do have a printed copy that we were handing out, which is really the information on this page. And for those of you on Zoom, you can check the chat for a list of resources, and we have a copy of that included in those resources too. And so now you have this printout, you can download it, but what we highly recommend is that you create an account to save your information on Plan Sandy Springs and be able to pull it up later. So let's move forward with this. We recommend using the same username and password that you use to access Build Sandy Springs. These are separate web pages with otherwise separate logins, but we want to make sure that we can remember how to log into each one. So we have our favorite contractor, Joe Contractor, is making his account right now. Okay, and we're going to create a name to help us remember this project, which is the Pizzeria Sandy Springs. Okay, so this is our goal page now. The links at the top of this goal page will be most useful to you. The top link takes you to the application website where you can search for the permits you need and apply for them. The other two links will take you to the city's website about the permitting process and other permit types. And the permitting process webpage will walk you through the whole process from beginning all the way to certificate of completion. And as you scroll down this page too, you can see we provide again for you the permit applications that you're going to need to complete and submit. And once you're on the city's webpage, you can find many more help pages and information. We also have tutorials for Build Sandy Springs, which is our permit application website. And so we have been talking about commercial properties so far. We're about to switch gears and go through residential properties. So I wanted to pause and ask if there are any questions at this point. Is there anybody on Zoom? Okay, great. We can move on then. Let's hop back to Plan Sandy Springs. We return to our homepage and start fresh with a residential project. This process is very similar to commercial projects, so we will be able to breeze right through. Step 1, project description, is the starting point for our decision tree. For this scenario, let's say we're buying an older home and renovating it for our family. We have big dreams for these properties. So we'll come through and we will select additions and alterations. And don't worry if multiple of these apply to your project, just pick the one closest to the screen because the next page is where we'll get into more detail about the project. Here we select the use of our property, which is single family house. And we'll add in our project location. You can see from all of the green, the city has much more residential zoned properties than commercial. We're going to pick a city-owned property on Hammond Drive and say there's currently a house on the property. That looks like a good one. Okay, let's also answer the remaining question on this page. Which is, does this use already exist? That will be yes. So in your parcel, this is where the map is more detailed and it matters where you click on the parcel. The parcel we selected is all green, but you can see the neighbor has a mix of green and gray. Let's find out why. Okay, we're going to click on the gray and we get a notice pop up, which says, this project is located in a flood hazard zone. This can impact development. So anytime you have that gray or yellow pop up, you can click more to find more information. But depending on where the work will occur on the property and other existing setback requirements, you may be able to move forward with your project, even if part of the parcel is in a flood hazard zone. It's always good to consult staff before you begin your project and find out what your specifications will be for that property. So let's move forward with our parcel outside of the flood hazard zone. Okay, so this is the fun part. Let's fix up this property. Let's go ahead. We're going to move forward with an accessory structure. We will be having a she shed at this new house. And let's have a pool, and we'll also need a fence to go around that pool. We will also need a retaining wall and a generator for the she shed. Okay, we are rocking and rolling with these. So we have a couple questions that popped up, which are, yes, this fence is a pool enclosure fence. And the pool will be outdoors. And other site work, yes, grading will occur. However, it will not be more than 1,000 square feet of land. That is a very big pool. Okay. Okay, so these permits are simple now that all of those questions have been answered. Plan Sandy Springs is a great tool for determining when you do or don't need a separate permit application. The pool permit includes the fence enclosure, so a separate permit is not needed, as well as the additions and alterations include any interior work associated with that project. But a retaining wall will always be a separate permit. Okay, so we have now filled in our estimated fees, and you can see those that are based on valuation have changed, but retaining wall is always a flat fee. So that one stayed the same as we answered these questions. And same as before, you can always expand for more details about what fees are being assessed for each permit. Okay, and we are back on a summary page again. This is the same as before. As I said, the only difference is if you're undergoing a commercial work or residential work. And we can go ahead and click begin to save our project information. This project is Sam's She Set Shed and Spa. Okay, and I also want to take a moment to highlight how to view your past projects. At the top of the screen, you can click your name on the right and select My Projects. Here you can access all of your previously submitted information, even if you didn't fully complete it. So this is very helpful that if you get kind of halfway through and you need to go find more answers and then come back to finish this out, you can always access your previously input information here. So there you have it, an overview of Plan Sandy Springs. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration and are inspired to go on to Plan Sandy Springs and start exploring to learn those requirements for your next project. We hope this information will be useful to you as you do work in Sandy Springs. We also have a handout with 5 helpful links on it, which I hope you will scan and explore. And the links to that are also included in the chat. I'd now like to open the floor to any questions. Okay, do you have a question? Mm-hmm.
And we run into a lot that have the string reference system.
Mm-hmm.
That's super helpful that we'll be able to find that out. There's like reference that if you saw that, contact the city staff members to learn more about it. What's the best way to do that? Is that to make appointments with city staff now, or?
Yes, I'm going to repeat that question for people on Zoom. The question was about when you run into a stream buffer or flood hazard zone and you're prompted to contact staff and the best way to do that. We have a direct line that's on that card, which goes to our permitting office. I believe it's on the front side. But additionally, if you want to book an appointment through QList, you can do that. And this site also has at the bottom of every page a contact staff button. Any of these methods will help you get through to a staff member. So it's really your preference for if you'd like to come in person, talk on the phone, or send an email, we can help you anyway. We want to reach you where you are. Yes, Gail? Yes, so if you have a very large project that's going to require more than a simple phone call, we offer developer meetings every Thursday, which are also linked on our website. And that's a chance to sit down with multiple staff members at once and work through the nuances of your project. And so that option is always available before you apply. And I believe it's required after the second failed submittal. Third failed submittal. Mm-hmm.
Sam, to add to that, actually you contact Miranda Fields with the city itself, and then go through and talk to us and set up for that Thursday meeting. Those meetings are actually 45 minutes in duration, so that information we can set aside to help you all.
we have any other questions? Okay, well, that's it from us today. For those of you in the room or on Zoom, feel free to jump onto Plan Sandy Springs and explore the site for yourself. And we have many staff members in the room to provide assistance. And for anybody on Zoom, feel free to set up an appointment to talk through it if you need any more help. We're going to end the webinar now, but as I said, we are still accessible to you. Thank you for coming and attending today.
Hey, Sam, can you please explain a little more about the Thursday meeting? That's the question we have online.
Yes, Jesus, why don't you scroll up on this page and select developer meetings? It's under the word construction. Yes, and so we'll scroll down a little bit on this page. So developer meetings, as mentioned, are a chance for you to meet with staff with your construction drawings or even your ideas if you're not already to that phase yet, and talk through ways to make your project code compliant to make sure it will aid you in getting your plans approved the first time you submit them for review. And so you can contact Miranda Fields. Her email is here on the screen, mfields@sandyspringsga.gov, to request a meeting time. Are there any more Zoom questions? Okay. Okay, well, as I said, that is the presentation today. We just wanted to provide a quick demo of this new tool for our citizens. So thank you.